brushed your teeth? Good. Now before you snuggle up, if you'd like to hit the subscribe button, or maybe send me a comment about what you'd like to hear me read, that'd be great. But if not, don't worry about it. Just settle down, close your eyes, and listen. Tonight I'm reading the Tsarevna Frog. In an old Russian Tsarstvo, I do not know when, there lived a sovereign prince with the princess his wife. They had 3 sons, all of them young and such brave fellows that no pen could describe them. The youngest had the name Ivan Tsarevich. One day their father said to his sons, "Dear boys, take each of you an arrow, draw your strong bow, and let your arrow fly. In whatever court it falls, that court there shall be your wife." The arrow of the oldest Tsarevich fell on a boyar house just in front of the terem where women live. The arrow of the second Tsarevich flew onto the red porch of an old merchant, and on the porch there stood a sweet girl, the merchant's daughter. The youngest, the brave Tsarevich Ivan, had the ill luck to send his arrow into the midst of a swamp, where it was caught by a croaking frog. Ivan Tsarevich came to his father. "How can I marry the frog?" complained the son. "Is she my equal? Certainly she is not." "Never mind," replied the father. "You have to marry the frog, for such is evidently your destiny." Thus the brothers were married, the oldest to a young boyarishnya, a nobleman's child, the second to a rich merchant's beautiful daughter, and the youngest, Tsarevich Ivan, to a croaking frog. After a while the sovereign prince called his 3 sons and said to them, "Have each of your wives bake a loaf of bread by tomorrow morning." Ivan returned home. There was no smile on his face, and his brow was clouded. "Croak, croak, dear husband of mine, Tsarevich Ivan, why so sad?" gently asked the frog. "Was there anything disagreeable in the palace?" "Disagreeable indeed," answered Ivan Tsarevich. "The Tsar, my father, wants you to bake a loaf of white bread by tomorrow." "Do not worry, Tsarevich. Go to bed. The morning hour is a better adviser than the dark evening." The Tsarevich, taking his wife's advice, went to sleep. Then the frog threw off her frog skin and turned into a beautiful, sweet girl, Vasilisa by name. She now stepped out on the porch and called aloud, "Nurses and waitresses, come to me at once and prepare a loaf of white bread for tomorrow morning, a loaf exactly like those I used to eat in my royal father's palace." In the morning Tsarevich Ivan awoke with the crowing cocks, and you know the cocks and chickens are never late. Yet the loaf was already made, and so fine it was that nobody could even describe it, for only in fairyland one finds such marvellous loaves. It was adorned all about with pretty figures, with towns and fortresses on each side, and within it was white as snow and light as a feather. The Tsar father was pleased, and the Tsarevich received his special thanks. "Now there is another task," said the Tsar, smiling. "Have each of your wives weave a rug by tomorrow." Tsarevich Ivan came back to his home. There was no smile on his face, and his brow was clouded. "Croak, croak, dear Tsarevich Ivan, my husband and master, why so troubled again? Was not father pleased?" "How can I be otherwise? The Tsar, my father, has ordered a rug by tomorrow." "Do not worry, Tsarevich. Go to bed, go to sleep. The morning hour will bring help." And again the frog turned into Vasilisa, the wise maiden, and again she called aloud, "Dear nurses and faithful waitresses, come to me for new work. Weave a silk rug like the one I used to sit upon in the palace of the king, my father." Once said, quickly done. When the cocks began their early cock-a-doodle-doo, Tsarevich Ivan awoke, and lo, there lay the most beautiful silk rug before him, a rug that no one could begin to describe. Threads of silver and gold were interwoven among bright-coloured silken ones, and the rug was too beautiful for anything but to admire. The Tsar father was pleased, and thanked his son Ivan, and issued a new order. He now wished to see the 3 wives of his handsome sons, and they were to present their brides on the next day. Tsarevich Ivan returned home. Cloudy was his brow, more cloudy than before. "Croak, croak, Tsarevich, my dear husband and master, why so sad? Hast thou heard anything unpleasant at the palace?" "Unpleasant enough, indeed. My father the Tsar ordered all of us to present our wives to him. Now tell me, how could I dare go with thee?" "It is not so bad after all, and might be much worse," answered the frog, gently croaking. "Thou shalt go alone, and I will follow thee. When thou hearest a noise, a great noise, do not be afraid. Simply say, 'There is my miserable froggy, coming in her miserable box.'" The 2 elder brothers arrived first with their wives, beautiful, bright, and cheerful, and dressed in rich garments. Both the happy bridegrooms made fun of the Tsarevich Ivan. "Why alone, brother?" they laughingly said to him. "Why didst thou not bring thy wife along with thee? Was there no rag to cover her? Where couldst thou have gotten such a beauty? We are ready to wager that in all the swamps in the dominion of our father it would be hard to find another one like her." And they laughed, and they laughed. Lo, what a noise! The palace trembled, the guests were all frightened. Tsarevich Ivan alone remained quiet, and said, "No danger, it is my froggy, coming in her box." To the red porch came flying a golden carriage drawn by 6 splendid white horses, and Vasilisa, beautiful beyond all description, gently reached her hand to her husband. He led her with him to the heavy oak tables, which were covered with snow-white linen, and loaded with so many wonderful dishes, such are known, and eaten only in the land of fairies, and never anywhere else. The guests were eating and chatting gaily. Vasilisa drank some wine, and what was left in the tumbler she poured into her left sleeve. She ate some of the fried swan, and the bones she threw into her right sleeve. The wives of the 2 elder brothers watched her and did exactly the same. When the long, hearty dinner was over, the guests began dancing and singing. The beautiful Vasilisa came forward, as bright as a star, bowed to her sovereign, bowed to the honourable guests, and danced with her husband, the happy Tsarevich Ivan. While dancing, Vasilisa waved her left sleeve, and a pretty lake appeared in the midst of the hall and cooled the air. She waved her right sleeve, and white swans swam on the water. The Tsar, the guests, the servants, even the grey cat sitting in the corner, all were amazed and wondered at the beautiful Vasilisa. Her 2 sisters-in-law alone envied her. When their turn came to dance, they also waved their left sleeves as Vasilisa had done, and oh wonder, they sprinkled wine all around. They waved their right sleeves, and instead of swans, the bones flew in the face of the Tsar father. The Tsar grew very angry and bade them to leave the palace. In the meantime, Ivan Tsarevich watched a moment to slip away unseen. He ran home, found the frog skin, and burnt it in the fire. Vasilisa, when she came back, searched for the skin, and when she could not find it, her beautiful face grew sad, and her bright eyes filled with tears. She said to Tsarevich Ivan, her husband, "Oh, dear Tsarevich, what hast thou done? There was but a short time left for me to wear the ugly frog skin. The moment was near when we could have been happy together for ever. Now I must bid thee good-bye. Look for me in a far-away country to which no one knows the roads, the palace of Koschei the Deathless." And Vasilisa turned into a white swan and flew away through the window. Tsarevich Ivan wept bitterly. Then he prayed to the Almighty God, and making the sign of the cross, northward, southward, eastward and westward, he went on a mysterious journey. No one knows how long his journey was, but one day he met an old, old man. He bowed to the old man, who said, "Good day, brave fellow. What art thou searching for, and whither art thou going?" Tsarevich Ivan answered sincerely, telling all about his misfortune without hiding anything. "And why didst thou burn the frog skin? It was wrong to do so." "Listen now to me. Vasilisa was born wiser than her own father, and he envied his daughter's wisdom. He condemned her to be a frog for 3 long years. But I pity thee and want to help thee. Here is a magic ball. In whatever direction this ball rolls, follow it without fear." Ivan Tsarevich thanked the good old man and followed his new guide, the ball. Long, very long was his road. One day, in a wide, flowery field, he met a bear, a big Russian bear. Ivan Tsarevich took his bow and was ready to shoot the bear. "Do not kill me, kind Tsarevich," said the bear. "Who knows but that I may be useful to thee?" And Ivan did not shoot the bear. Above, in the sunny air, there flew a duck, a lovely white duck. Again the Tsarevich drew his bow to shoot it, but the duck said to him, "Do not kill me, good Tsarevich. I certainly shall be useful to thee some day." And this time he obeyed the command of the duck and passed by. Continuing his way, he saw a blinking hare. The Tsarevich prepared an arrow to shoot it, but the grey blinking hare said, "Do not kill me, brave Tsarevich. I shall prove myself grateful to thee in a very short time." The Tsarevich did not shoot the hare, but passed by. He walked farther and farther after the rolling ball, and came to the deep blue sea. On the sand there lay a fish. I do not remember the name of the fish, but it was a big fish, almost dying on the dry sand. "O Tsarevich Ivan," prayed the fish, "have mercy upon me, and push me back into the cool sea." The Tsarevich did so, and walked along the shore. The ball, rolling all the time, brought Ivan to a hut, a queer, tiny hut, standing on tiny hen's feet. "Izbushka, Izbushka," for so in Russian do they name small huts. "Izbushka, I want thee to turn thy front to me," cried Ivan, and lo, the tiny hut turned its front at once. Ivan stepped in and saw a witch, one of the ugliest witches he could imagine. "Ho, Ivan Tsarevich, what brings thee here?" was his greeting from the witch. "O thou old mischief," shouted Ivan with anger, "is this the way in holy Russia to ask questions before the tired guest gets something to eat, something to drink, and some hot water to wash the dust off?" Baba Yaga the witch gave the Tsarevich plenty to eat and drink, besides hot water to wash the dust off. Tsarevich Ivan felt refreshed. Soon he became talkative and related the wonderful story of his marriage. He told how he had lost his dear wife, and that his only desire was to find her. "I know all about it," answered the witch. "She is now at the palace of Koschei the Deathless, and thou must understand that Koschei is terrible. He watches her day and night, and no one can ever conquer him. His death depends on a magic needle. That needle is within a hair. That hair is within a large trunk. That trunk is hidden in the branches of an old oak tree, and that oak tree is watched by Koschei as closely as Vasilisa herself, which means closer than any treasure he has." Then the witch told Ivan Tsarevich how and where to find the oak tree. Ivan hastily went to the place, but when he perceived the oak tree he was much discouraged, not knowing what to do or how to begin the work. Lo and behold, that old acquaintance of his, the Russian bear, came running along, approaching the tree, uprooted it, and the trunk fell and broke. A hare jumped out of the trunk and began to run fast, but another hare, Ivan's friend, came running after, caught it, and tore it to pieces. Out of the hare there flew a duck, a grey one, which flew very high and was almost invisible. But the beautiful white duck followed the bird and struck its grey enemy, which lost an egg. That egg fell into the deep sea. Ivan, meanwhile, was anxiously watching his faithful friends helping him. But when the egg disappeared into the blue waters, he could not help weeping. All of a sudden, a big fish came swimming up, the same fish he had saved, and it brought the egg in his mouth. How happy Ivan was when he took it. He broke it and found the needle inside, the magic needle upon which everything depended. At the same moment, Koschei lost his strength and power forever. Ivan Tsarevich entered his vast dominions, killed him with the magic needle, and in one of the palaces found his own dear wife, his beautiful Vasilisa. He took her home, and they were very happy ever after. Peaceful slumbers. Sleep sweet.